if you were going to have a $3 to $5 billion impact in Chinese revenue, being able to even come close to what you had guided for earnings and for revenue growth, I thought was a solid showing.
Okay, so the data center revenue, incredibly important to NVIDIA's bottom line.
Yes.
It has been soaring. Why is it driving the company's finances? And what do you make of the information coming out today?
You see hyperscalers, neoscalers, basically cloud computing providers building a tremendous amount of infrastructure for AI that they want to sell to enterprise customers, to people that do AI related services. That train has been going on for some time now, and it's actually estimated that roughly four of the hyperscalers contribute about 600 billion a year in capital expenditures. And this has been the thing that's been driving NVIDIA's AI sales for quite some time now.
Yeah, and as we just heard, missing by just a fraction, so really that didn't spook the market at all.
No, it's actually quite surprising. If you'd expected to sell multiple billions to China and you still made up that gap without any of the H20 revenue, zero H20 revenue, that was definitely something that I think we were all suspect if they'd be able to close that gap. They also did a very good job of guiding to say that they didn't expect to have any of that revenue for the next quarter. It wasn't in their guidance. However, they laid out the carrot that if things went well, that could also be another 3 to 5 billion in revenue that's added on top of their guidance. So
Well,
I think that this is very important for them.
yeah, well played. Okay, so let's talk more about China and the basically chips not being sent there at this point. We know Beijing has been pushing its tech companies to do its shopping at home. What do you think? Do you think this is going to continue, or do you think at some point there are going to be a lot of tech companies in China saying, look, let's take advantage of this. We have this opportunity to buy the H20 chip, and so why not invest in it now?
China's situation is actually a mixed bag. You know, we see the Trump deal at the 15% cut of Nvidia sales actually leading to the opportunity to sell the H20s. I think if people can get H20s, they'll buy H20s. However, I do think Beijing has signaled that they really want to create a much stronger Chinese AI economy, and Cambricon's a really good example of that with its record profits it recently had. So from the long-term perspective, I think we'll see more Chinese-owned and controlled market being consumed within China. But in the short term, I think we're still looking at, can you get H20s? And that's going to be very important for them for the current AI race.
I want to talk more about what the Trump administration is doing, not necessarily with Intel, even though that has so many people talking, but the fact that it wants to get 15% of the high-tech chips that NVIDIA could sell to China, and kind of going back on its line in the sand, if you will. And secondly, do you think at any point the relationship between China and the United States is driving what's going on?
So I obviously think that there's tensions between the U.S. and China that continue, and we've seen this play out repeatedly in the tariff negotiations that have been happening or not happening, as it were.
Right.
I think the 15% stake, it's a way to really make NVIDIA and other companies think about what they're doing, if this is what they want to do. It's an opportunity to fuel some money into the U.S. government. It's actually a very different situation than the Intel one you mentioned. All of that Intel money had actually been earmarked in either the CHIPS Act or a Department of Defense grant. And basically what they did, since Intel hadn't received it, is they said, if you want it, you've got to give us a stake in the company. So that is really not net new money, and that's why it was proposed as not costing the U.S. anything, because it had already been earmarked. The whole getting revenue share is a very different market and not the traditional capitalist market that we have proposed in the past. It'll be interesting to see if that actually sticks moving forward. As NVIDIA noted in the earnings call, there's actual no legislation, regulation at this point in time that is listed that is on the table for them to deal with. This is just more discussions at this point.
Good point. Okay, I want to zoom out a bit and look at the growing role that AI is playing when it comes to the markets, the economy overall. Critics say it's overvalued. Sam Altman has raised the concern of an AI bubble. Then we have that report by MIT out recently saying that a number of companies that have worked on this basically aren't making money right now.
If you look at it, Nvidia is one of the few companies that is making money right now. They've got a mid-70s gross margin. They are selling billions and billions of dollars of equipment, whereas Microsoft, Azure, AWS, Google, everybody is spending billions of dollars on AI infrastructure. And we still have to sell that AI infrastructure to somebody at the end of the day. And enterprise has to be on the other side of that buying it. And we have not seen the buying actually match the capital outlay. But these models are big, they require a lot of compute. And as long as we continue building big models, we're going to be selling big chips.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm old enough to remember the 90s and the first
Yes.
tech bubble. Irrational exuberance comes to mind. Are we there?
We're already there. We've been there for a while. And I think the fact that NVIDIA managed to pull out another quarter has just stalled the inevitable, which is we're overly enthusiastic about the actual AI revenue that will happen in the market at large. But we've been that way for several quarters now, and we keep finding new reasons to have irrational optimism. So one could have said that this quarter for NVIDIA, how long is the market not going to take a significant beat before they decide that this is overvalued? And I think it's maybe a couple of quarters before they get there.